Okay, perfect. Hello everybody, my name is Andre, and I always had a problem of spending too much time on this device. And it took me quite some time to realize, and the kind of key moment was when after one call, I was working consulting, my boss approached me. She was like, Andre, you are really good, but you are too distracted and you shouldn't be spending time on Tinder when you are in meetings. And I was like, fuck, how does she know? It was after a virtual call, but kind of made me realize that I had a problem. And I started looking for solutions. And the solution that worked the best for me was eventually psychology, but it was a really cumbersome way to go. So then I started talking with Killian, my co-founder, and we realized that there were actually quite some people who had similar problems. So the Gen Z and Y spend on average 7 hours a day on their phones. And the issue is that while 70% are aware of this, and 35% take steps to reduce it, 70% don't manage to do so. And so we realized decided to build a solution that could help them. And we said it needed psychology to help change the habits and gamification to make it fun. And that's how we came up with the app called Zario. We've launched it in March, and actually we have our big launch on Product Up this Thursday. So if you're there, please vote for us. And how it works, at the beginning, the user creates goals, and then the app creates a personalized journey. And then each user gets 3 challenges every day. And the challenges are anything from making your screen black and white to make your phone less visually appealing, to going for a walk, or coming up with a bucket list of things you could do. And then step by step, by doing a challenge every day, people replace screen time by real world experiences. We have one more super exciting thing in the pipeline, and that's a collaborative mode. And that's something like a combination between Alcoholics Anonymous and a Bundesliga. So we bring people together in a group where they work together and support each other, but we add a competitive dynamics so that we let them compete against one other team for 10 days. And this leads to a lot of engagement and people actually being able to complete the challenges and help them and having fun. We believe we are onto something big because we've been hearing tremendous feedback from our tester community. So for example, the last round, we had 90% of people finishing all 10 challenges in 10 days, which is a crazy high engagement rate. And we believe that's gonna be the game changer. Of course, there are other competitors. Most of them focus on monitoring restrictions. So kind of the iPhone screen time on steroids. But we believe that the only way to long-term change the habits is just by addressing the core, so the psychology. And that's why we see ourselves in here. But most of the other apps are kind of very scientific and not so much fun to use. And we believe if you want to compete with apps such as TikTok, you have to be gamified. And that's why we see ourselves in this segment. And we also believe that digital well-being is the next mindfulness. And we want to become the next Calm.com. Let me continue. How do we want to make money? Well, first of all, as any other app, a B2C freemium, but we also see interesting revenue potentials in employee sponsored challenges as an employee benefit, insurance sponsored challenges, such as therapy add-on, or also in the marketing or branding challenges. We have a team with complementary skills. Killian and I come from consulting, and we've been both building digital tools and crafting experiences. And Bartek is a very experienced developer who developed over 20 mobile apps and also led huge teams of developers. We have 2 advisors. I want to point out Severin because he's the leading expert on using digital tools to treat addiction in Switzerland. And we're going to start a pilot study with him in a couple of months. After we've managed to help people reduce their screen time and find better balance with their phones, we want to become the global platform that helps people to challenge each other to become better versions of themselves. So kind of to take a step further, not only phone addiction, not only reducing screen time, but getting better in any dimension you want. That's all. Thank you very much for your attention. Here is the QR code where you can download the app if you're interested. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hey, Andre, thanks so much for presenting. If you guys are in the audience, and you have questions, those in the YouTube live chat. That's just the startuptank.com/live. You can leave questions there, and we'll open them up to our investor panel in a sec. The first question, the most obvious one I had for you is, Andre, how do you make money in the long term when you're helping unhook people from their phone? That's counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and we've been asking ourselves the same question. Our answer to that is people don't change their habits from day to day. So we see many features that are going to support people in the long term. For example, a feature that tracks the number of unlocks of social media apps that's going to help people stay on track and kind of monitor their behavior long term. We believe that there's going to be more intense phase in the beginning, such as when you switch to a new diet or start working out. But this is something that people have to keep on practicing. So we believe that's going to be light mode where people will just continue on a slower pace. We'll get some reminders. And the second answer to this question is we actually want to become the platform where people can challenge each other to do anything, because we saw really good results, really very positive resonance of this collaborative mode. And we believe you could use it basically for anything. So in the future, you could have authors of self-help books writing curricula of challenges that could be on a platform. And then, people will never stop wanting to get better at something. So that's how we could keep the customers in a very, very long term. Did it answer your question?
Terms of
I don't hear you, man. I don't know if it's my connection here in the Czech Republic.
Man, it's not coming through.
It's to update itself. It ruins things. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I want to apologize first to everyone about the connection issues. That seems Zoom decided to a new update that doesn't work. Advance. My other question for you before we hand it over to the invest panel would be, what do you see in terms of defensible network effects? Is there something that you have, or is this something that's going to be a pure marketing play where you have to outmarket and to out design the competition, a la like a Snapchat outrunning Facebook?
Well, it's a tough question. We believe that with this collaborative mode and friends inviting their friends, we could create network effects. If you have a lot of friends who are part of the same network where you can see their performance, what they are working on, and especially if you can challenge your own friends on a specific challenge that you have. But on the other side, we see it's gonna be kind of a similar game like Calm or meditation, where it's just the kind of the first entrants who managed to find a solution that works for a lot of people, just invest enormous marketing budgets, and then that's how they win over the market.
Awesome, thanks for clarifying. And then Thomas, Antonia, Claudius, do you have questions that you'd like to ask Andre?
Sure. So my first question has been half answered. I'll circle back to that later, but what's your go-to-market strategy?
So we have kind of three pillars that we base it on. First one is built-in virality. So that's not something we have in the app already, but we have it planned. We want to have features where you challenge your friends, features where you get free premium for a couple of weeks, same as you could have it on Dropbox, for example, if you refer people. Second pillar is influencer marketing. We are now working with about 400 influencers that we've reached out to. We're getting feedback from them. And we want to build a scheme where every time an influencer refers someone who actually subscribes, they will get part of the subscription, by which we will make sure that we always stay profitable, no matter what the subscription rate is. And then the third pillar is normal standard performance marketing, where we're just gonna go for the channels that work the best for us and result in the lowest click-through rates. For us so far, it's been TikTok and normal search ads, but we still need this year to experiment more, understand what's actually the cheapest channel.
Antonio, Thomas, do you guys have any questions to add to that?
How much will you charge for it?
So currently we are thinking we would charge something about $60 to $80 per year, such as all the meditation apps and Duolingo do. When we were talking with our initial users, they were all saying like, hey, if the app would be cheaper than the other apps, they will be much more likely to subscribe. Which made us thinking, okay, maybe it would be an interesting way to just test it and do some A/B tests and see if we really achieve higher total revenues per 1,000 of users. But when we look into the market, there's no one doing this. So we don't know why, but there's no one charging like $20 or $15 or $30 per year. Everybody's kind of in the 60 to 90 space. So I believe after some experimentation, we're probably also going to end up there.
I'm just questioning myself whether people are ready to pay this $80. I mean, for the meditation apps, I see that because it has like several benefits, but for your app, it's only going to be like this one feature that you stay away from your phone. Just like intuitively what I think about that, but maybe I'm wrong here and price sensitivity might be different.
Yeah, I think it also depends what kind of customers we're selling to, right? We see our primary customers are kind of women in their early 30s who spend excessive amounts of time on social media, but at the same time have a successful career and kind of the willingness to pay for an app that helps them. That's been one big group of our target customers. And then we verify there's really high perceived need. Another group of customers that we see, but where we still need to dive into, are kind of parents of Gen Z, because for them, the problem is high. And Gen Z actually sees it as a problem. So we had a lot of people in their teens, I would say 15 till 20, who participated in our challenges. And we believe if we create a nice journey, we could ask their parents to pay for it. So we kind of have the target user in the teens, with the payer in the rows of parents who have the highest perceived need to fix it because they didn't grow up with the phone. But it's still up to us to find out.
That's part of the go-to-market strategy to find that out for sure.
Yeah.
I have one last question, one quick one, and then I'll let you go, Antonia. Maybe regarding the competition, or less about the competition, but you said that some of them are too scientific, but then on the other hand, you said you also want to do a pilot study. Can you tell a bit more about that? Because in the end, like some people, if they want to use something like that, they want the scientific proof that it actually works.
Yeah, sure. So what I meant by too scientific is they are very focused on the contents and methods, but they don't make sure that much that it's fun. So what I compare it to is like buying a book. If you have the high level of motivation of reading a book, how to help yourself reduce phone addiction, then these apps are great. But if you are a teenager who's used to TikTok and getting super instant gratification, then it's just too tedious and doesn't work. But for us, it's also super important to do it. Everything we do is also science-based. We just try to turn it into more fun. And that's why to kind of get this validation, we're starting this pilot study with University of Zurich, hopefully financed by Gesundheitsförderung Schweiz, because they have a program that's targeted for it. And we have a partner at Radex here in Zurich. And there we just want to do a pilot study to see how it compares for people who don't use the app and who use the app. And it's going to be the first kind of foundation stone to do a big, larger study next year that could be financed by the Swiss government research funds.
There's potential as well to be an affiliate for other programs like etc. If you're off their phone, there's a lot of synergy. Do we have any other questions from the investor panel, or do we want to move on to the next company?
So one more question from my side. So just maybe you could tell me for myself. So you built this app because you use Tinder in a work meeting. Now you said your main target persona are women in their early 30s who have the willingness to pay for this app, but to help them. So now I would be your perfect target group. I'm a woman, I'm in my early 30s, but I can't really get my head around why I would exactly now use this. So maybe you could guide me again, like why exactly, like what would you help me with that I would pay 80 euros a year for?
Okay, so I mean, our target groups are people, and maybe you are not in this group, who have the compulsive reflex to reach out for their phone throughout the day, completely random situations, right? So these are people who kind of are working, doing something, and then they just reach out for the phone because their brain is so used to doing this that they no longer have volitional control over this. And for these people, if they set themselves restrictions in the iOS that block certain apps, this mechanism in the brain is still there. So even though they block Instagram and they block maybe Tinder or whatever, yeah, it doesn't matter which app it is for you. For some people it can be email, for some people it can be news. They will still be reaching out for the phone because the brain will be asking them for distraction. And what we can help you with is to realize why you're doing this and then make it harder to kind of reach out for the phone and do the behaviors you don't want to do. And then we make it easier for you to spend the time on the activities that make sense to you, such as you say, well, you want to be more social, and maybe that's the reason why you go to social media, but doesn't actually fulfill the need of community and friendship. So we give you ideas how you can, I don't know, organize a phone-free dinner with your friends, or check which friends have birthday and write them a really nice personalized message or letter. There are like so many ideas in the app, and you always get a selection of 3. So then you can kind of get what you want out of the app.
Mm-hmm.